Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Helen Tansey. She is a photographer based here in Toronto. How are you doing this morning, Helen?
I'm good, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and share a bit about your story and your journey. It's nice to finally connect with you. We've been trying to get this done for a while, so it'll be good to finally get into this and hear about your story. I'm really excited and appreciative and thankful to have you here today.
Thank you for being patient, because I know we had to reschedule a few times, but also thank you for having me as a guest, and thank you for having a podcast like this for women. It's really needed, and thank you.
It's my honor and my pleasure. So let's jump in. As I mentioned, Helen, you are a photographer. You've been a photographer for over 30 years, but it all got started for you on the other side of the camera. How did you get into modeling in Europe?
So I was in Toronto, and I was with my brother, and we were walking through a mall, and a gentleman came up to me. His name is Olsen, and he came up to me and he said, "Hey, have you ever modeled?" and blah, 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 blah. And then from there, we checked him out, and right away I was sent to Europe. So I modeled in Paris and in Milan. And I didn't, I was so horrible. So I didn't enjoy being a model, but what I did enjoy was the photography part. I was always so much more interested in what the photographers were doing.
Right. And
a lot of times after shoots, I would ask them if I could stay and hang out and help them develop the film. And I think I drove them crazy asking them questions. So that part of it was always more interesting. And then I came home, I came back, and I was a little lost for a little bit. My brother had passed away, so I was a little lost and wasn't sure what direction I was heading in. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting a job working for a photographer, and his name was Nick Seiflo. And at the time, he was the only photographer in town who did photos of actors headshots. Okay. And so I did all the admin work. I booked all the appointments. Do you remember like back in the day where you'd have to cut the negatives and sleeve them and did all that sort of stuff. And then I just did photography on the side with friends of mine. And then agents started saying, these are actually really good. And I got a bank loan, and I ended up going out on my own. And it was really wonderful, because I felt like all the doors just kept opening. And to me, that's always a sign that you're meant for something. Yes. When the doors keep opening. And it doesn't mean it isn't hard. But,
no, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think about when you talk about being a photographer or being an artist in general, you go to your parents and say, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to go to. I want to be an artist." Oh, you can't make money at that. What are you thinking? And so there's that road, first of all, that uphill battle, and then, the fact of being a new entrepreneur and starting a business is tough enough. But when you have people saying, "Oh, what do you want to do that for? You can't make money at that."
You're right. And it's funny because I get that a lot when I photograph a lot of young actors. This is their passion. This is what they want to do. And I think parents have changed. I think parents are more accepting of their kids, having different professions. Yeah. But I do find that sometimes they're like, my family thinks I'm crazy, or I went to school to be a lawyer, but I want to be an actor. And my thing is that you should always follow your dreams. Yes. Because even if it doesn't mean that you're going to be an actor, maybe when you pursue that, you'll find the love of your life, or maybe you'll find directing, or maybe you'll find, like me, photography, who knows, right? But that passion, that dream is there for a reason. And it's our responsibility to ourselves, to our spirit, to our soul, to follow that.
100%
is on the other side of it.
Like you said, it may lead you down a completely different path, but at least you started that journey and it took you to where you're supposed to be. But yeah, I agree with you. We should not ignore the universe and not ignore those signs. As you said, when all the doors start opening, you can't ignore it. You have to follow it.
Absolutely.
So how long did you model for? And did you enjoy any of it at all? Or did you just completely hate the experience of being a model?
You know what? If it's not for everybody, do you know? And again, like I didn't pursue it. Like I was, I'm putting my fingers up those quotations. Like I was discovered, right? So I found, there was fun on the photo shoots. When I was in Paris, I was really fortunate because the owner of the agency, I lived with him. Everybody thought we were having an affair, which we weren't.
Right.
But he let me live with him because my father had said, if anything happens to her, I will kill you. So I think it put the fear in him. Yeah. And so I had a beautiful place that I stayed in. There was a model back in the day called Renee Simonson, who was just unbelievable. And she was, remember John Taylor from Duran Duran?
Yeah.
So that was her boyfriend. So I went out with them a couple of times, which was, it was pretty cool. There were definitely moments where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But also there is a lot of this is going back into the 80s, right? So there's a lot of drugs. I never did drugs. That always scared the heck out of me. And I think now looking back at it, there were some great moments, but I can honestly say as a woman that being in that industry also, for me, now as a woman, there are elements of how I feel about myself, my body, that is, I think if I wasn't a model, I wouldn't have those issues.
Right. Okay.
Do you know? I find that it can be, your value is what you look like, right? Yes. And your value is how, and back then, especially how thin you were. And so I don't know, I kind of have a love-hate about it, but I love it because it led me to photography, and I've been doing this for so long, and I really feel privileged and honored that I have a job that I love to do.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's the key, is finding your passion or your purpose and loving what you do. To be able to wake up every morning and go to work loving it, that is a privilege. I think it's an incredible thing to be able to say you're able to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you think about the millions upon millions of people who end up stuck in a job they hate and are miserable going to work every day, and they do that for their entire lives. I mean, think about all the time we spend working. It's crazy.
I know. And then and I remember having that. I remember having jobs where you'd look at the clock and go, okay, 4 more hours.
Yeah.
You count down, right? Or you count down the days to the weekend. And
you're living for the weekend. You're wishing away 5 days a week. When you think about it, that's exactly what you're doing. Isn't that kind of sad? Really? When you really
Loverboy did a song on that.
When you really look at that, though,
for the weekend,
it's
totally.
It's so sad that so many people end up doing that. You're wishing away 5 days out of 7.
And if you can do it when you're young, because I think you're married and you have kids, and same with me, that we're a little bit more risk adverse as we get older, right?
Yeah.
So if we're lucky enough when we're younger to start to pursue our passions and build it so that, we know that, okay, this is what I love to do, because it's much harder to make those changes when, you have a mortgage and paying, for university for your kids, right?
Yeah, for sure. Did you take any educational training to become a photographer, or was it all on the job learning and self-taught?
All self-taught.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, again, I did work when I worked with Nick Seiflo. He did, I would watch him. He showed me a few things.
Yeah.
There's another photographer who's really lovely, Denise Grant. And she showed, I did have a few people along the way sort of give me little tips and show me things, which was really great. But I'm still learning, when I first started, it was, it was film. It was all studio light. Now it's digital. Now I'm using more natural light. So having to figure that out. I don't know what you're like as a photographer, but I love, when I look at, editorial spreads or things, I'm like, how did they do that? How did they get that lighting? And what I'm realizing now, some of it isn't lighting. Some of it's, the editing part of it.
Yes.
But I still like to experiment, and I still like to sort of, I see pictures of what that photographers do and I'm in awe of, and I'm like, how did they do that?
Yes.
And I want to know how.
Natural light. I mean, like you said, that all the studio lighting and whatnot, and now transitioning into natural light, that it is such beautiful light, natural light. I'd like to actually venture more into using natural light as opposed to studio lights.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard though at times because, living in Canada, the colder, like even though it's light, with natural light, the light is cooler.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I look, I loved Peter Lindbergh and Herb Ritts, and they're in California. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So it just opens up a whole new world of what you can do for backdrops and all that sort of stuff, and lighting and but it's fun. It's a creative process that I still really enjoy.
Yeah. So how far into your journey as a photographer did you decide that, hey, I want to make a living at this and turn this into a business, and this is what I want to do with my life?
Well, I kind of did. I mean, I was working as, for Nick, and then Nick left the industry, and a gentleman named Leonard bought his company and bought specifically the printing, because back then everybody was getting their headshots printed, your 8x10s.
Yeah.
And so Leonard actually saw some of the work that I was doing, because I stayed when Nick sold the business, I stayed to help Leonard.
Okay.
And he was like, he thought, you should do this. And so he helped me also, like he really pushed me to do it. And it just kept happening. Like people were interested. And I think also too, besides when I mentioned Denise Grant, and back then she was doing a few headshots, but she was doing more editorial stuff, and a lot of country singers, country music, sort of shooting albums and everything. And there weren't a lot of female photographers back then. Mm-hmm. Right. Doing, especially my little niche, which I was doing was headshots. There weren't really many of them. So I think that worked in my advantage a little bit too.
For sure. Do you remember what your very first paying gig as a photographer was? And if so, I mean, obviously it was headshots, but was it an actor? Was it corporate?
It was an actor.
An actor?
I don't remember the first person, because as you know, like when I first started, I have a lot of my friends that are actors and models. So I did a lot of freebies to build up my portfolio.
Yeah.
And then I started, and I remember when I started, like, I think I charged like $150.
Wow.
And that was and that was like for a full shoot, like a 3-hour shoot. And that was, that just seemed like so much and so incredible. And, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I don't remember who my first paying, I should know who my first paying person is, but I don't really remember. But I do meet people, but I do, like, the other day, a couple of weeks ago, her name is Cindy Sampson, and she's the lead on that show, Private Eye, with Jason Priestley.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she came in to get her pictures done, but she brought her old pictures that I had done like 20 years ago to show me. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just completely different style, right? Like that was remember when it was called the rebate border, where it was that messy negative border and that fabric painted backdrop, which I hope comes back, because I do love that.
You mean the backdrops, like,
that were painted, remember the backdrops, like they were gray and kind of looked like clouds and swirled and do you remember like the canvas backdrops?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the things that I love, is that people come back and it's like you build this, and when you shoot too, Brad, like it's really intimate, the time that you have with people.
Sure. For sure.
And that's part of, and it's not intentional. I think that we do that. I think it's part of our personality that brings us into this profession too. But you need that, because a lot of people are very nervous getting their pictures done.
That's right. You have
right. So when you can bring that down and connect with them, and again, like, it's not a formula. I think it's just in our personality and maybe why we choose this profession too.
That's right. I was just going to say I think that is an incredibly important and necessary part of being a photographer that I don't think that gets talked about a lot. It's always about the technical, and you've got to know how to light. And yes, of course, you have to know how to light and you have to know how to pose. But I think that equally as important, even if not just a little bit more, is the fact that you have to know how to relate to your clients and make them feel at ease and make them feel comfortable. You have to know how to connect with people.
I agree.
You have to.
I agree. And it's almost like, and I hear hairdressers say this too. And the same, I think, with us, it's like, sometimes it's like a therapy session.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like it's,
Yes. You're part therapist for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Back to your thing, you're mentioning the backdrops. Like, are you talking about the backdrops, like the ones that Annie Leibovitz uses and stuff like that type of backdrop?
Yeah, like those big, large canvas ones that have been painted, and sometimes they're gray or they've got gold and browns, but it's just that sort of rich texture.
I think those are coming back. I think those are making a comeback.
I hope they do.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I mean, the ones that Annie Leibovitz uses, those are expensive. I actually interviewed, I can't remember what her name. I can't believe her name escapes me, but she owns the company that Annie Leibovitz uses her backdrops. I'll look, I'll find out before we finish up here, and I'll bring it back up again.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet they are expensive.
Oh yes. Very expensive.
Well, maybe we'll pitch in and we'll do it together, and we'll like week on, week off. You get it 1 week, I get it 1 week.
That's right. We'll do a custody thing.
Yeah. Of the backdrop.
Helen, when you aren't actually shooting paid photography work, what do you do to keep your mind in that creative space? Like personal projects, what type of stuff do you like to do?
I spend a lot of time with my family, with my boys. Okay. I would like to say that I photograph them, but they're at an age now where they're like, I always want to take pictures of them, but they're like, Mom, please stop. So we
had enough of this when we were younger.
It drives them crazy. Like, actually, when cameras come up now, they walk away. So But before COVID, one of the things we did as a family, like I'm a big traveler. We've traveled a lot, Japan and China and all over the world. So traveling is a big passion. And I do shoot when I travel. Like when I went to Africa, that was just my dream. And I shot a lot there. But I do find sometimes when I travel, I pick a day where I'm going to shoot, because sometimes it does feel like work. Like sometimes my husband will say, "Oh, are you going to bring your camera?" And I'm like, "Nope." Like I need to step away from that.
Yeah.
And then other things like I spend time with my family. I'm so fortunate with the women that I have in my life who I connect with. I have my it probably sounds boring, but I have a very strong meditation practice that is a huge part of my life, and it helps me in everything that I do. So I spend a lot of time doing my self-care with that also.
Okay.
And then I've got my dog Harvey, who,
there you go.
If anybody follows me,
sees
Harvey. Yeah, I take tons of pictures of him, and he actually now.
Well, he'll never fight it or complain.
No, he does. He turns his face away.
Does
now. He? Yeah, like he's just also had enough of me, so I always have to have treats when I take pictures of him.
Mom's got the camera again. Here we go again. Yeah. Helen,
yeah. But what about you? Like, do you take lots of pictures of your girls? Because you have two girls.
Yeah, right? I used to. They're no longer living at home, so I don't.
Okay.
I used to, and they used to do the same thing. It's like, really, do we have, my youngest more so than my older? It was like, we just did a shoot with you a little while ago. Do we really have to do another? I'm like, come on, let's just do some portraits. Come on. But yeah, they're of the same mind. It's like, really? No, put the camera away. We're done. We don't want it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to photograph aside from obviously what you do for a living, headshots? What do you like to photograph when you're just out with your camera?
I think it depends on where I am. I love trees. So when I travel places, I love taking pictures of trees.
Right.
I would say I'm not what you were saying earlier about technical and stuff like that. I think that friends of mine who do product photography or landscape photography, like it's unbelievable what they do. My work is not at all near what they do, because I don't, it's a whole different way of lighting and setup and stuff like that. So, but it's just more for me, it's just more for me to do that sort of thing. And then I like taking pictures, when I've traveled of people, but candid. So I bring like really long lenses so that they don't know that I'm taking pictures of them. That sounds kind of creepy, but doing sort of more. Yeah. And I find too, like I remember being in Europe and just sitting on a bench, and all of a sudden, like after about an hour, people don't notice you. You kind of blend into the background. And that's when you can start taking pictures. Because if you just sit down and pull out your camera and start taking pictures, it's like people are aware of it.
Yeah, you're setting off alarm bells.
But if you just kind of sit there and all of a sudden, you have your camera on your lap, and when you're ready, you start shooting, I find that it changes also, that people don't really notice you as much.
Yeah. I love going to New York City and shooting. I love that city for photography. That the people, the architecture, just everything is so incredible about New York City for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, so I remember the name of the backdrops, the name of the studio, Oliphant Studios.
Oliphant. I'm going to write that down and check it out.
I'll send you a link.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Her work is beautiful, and they're all hand painted. Just amazingly beautiful backdrops. And I mean, you can custom order yours, colors, all it's incredible.
Oh, I look forward. Okay. Yes. Please send me that link.
Yes, I will. So you've photographed quite a few celebrities. How did you get your foot in the door in that world of shooting celebrities? Like, how did that happen?
I don't know. It just happened. And then right? Like it just sort of happened. And then people see like, oh, you photographed Gordon Ramsay. And then they want to hire you to shoot, somebody else. Or sometimes it's people, I'm just trying to think, like it's timing. Like I remember when I shot Carrie Ann Moss, it was right before she did The Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they're beautiful photos that we did together, but they would just be beautiful photos. Yeah. But then when she got, obviously she blew up when she did The Matrix. And then all of a sudden those photos are more interesting to people. Right. And then I'm more interesting to people. So I think some of it is just luck and timing, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you remember who the first big name celebrity was that you photographed?
You know what I remember when I photographed, I mean, I've shot a few before him, but when I photographed Gordon Ramsay, I knew who Gordon Ramsay was, but I didn't know how big he was.
Okay.
So when I went in to photograph him, I was just like, hey, and he was a really nice guy, really funny and great. I was a bit shocked how tall he was because I'm tall, right? So I was expecting this little, Scottish guy, but he was like very tall and really nice guy. And then afterwards, I put the pictures up on my website and I did that. And all of a sudden people were like, oh my God, you shot Gordon Ramsay. And I didn't realize how big he was, which is probably a good thing.
Yes.
Because it might be intimidating for me on my end. Right.
Yeah. Do you get intimidated or, for lack of a better term, starstruck? Have you ever been, when you're shooting a celebrity, is there anyone that comes to mind that you've been starstruck by or really nervous? Like, oh my God, I got to photograph this person? I think more, it's not intimidated, but more of an excitement. Yeah. Like even when I did my Sundari women book, when I photographed Jennifer Dale and Wendy Crewson, like those are two incredible women. They've been in the industry a long time. They're amazing, amazing actresses. And I just have so much respect for them. So meeting them I was so excited to meet them and work with them. And obviously you get a little nervous because you want to make sure that they're going to be happy too with their pictures. But I think it's more of an excitement that I feel. Okay. I mean, listen, if somebody booked me to shoot Keanu Reeves, I would be answering this question completely differently, or Jane Fonda. I think I would be trembling taking her pictures because I just adore her. Right. Helen, what's your favorite thing about being a photographer? What lights you up the most about it?
The people. Yeah. I get to meet so many incredible people. I would say 80% of my friendships of the people in my life I've met through this business.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been in this business, since in my 20s.
Right.
But my early, like 20. And then, but I think that the relationships that I have created with people, and then even when people come into my studio, it's just, that's what I enjoy the most with what I do. It's that collaboration, It's not just me, it's them, it's the makeup artist. And when it all comes together, it's magic.
Yeah.
So I always, when people say, oh, you took a great photo, it's like, well, thank you. But it's like, it's because of that person too. And it's because of my makeup artist, Sam. Like, it's not just me. It's that collaboration of us all working together. And I really enjoy that process.
Awesome. Which artists or photographers do you look up to and admire?
My favorite was Herb Ritts.
Okay.
I loved Herb Ritts. I thought his photos were great, but what made him great for me was that he caught the essence of the person. Like, anybody can take not anybody. You can take a picture of someone and go like, oh, that's a nice picture of them.
Yeah.
But but I like when I look at a picture and I feel that person.
Yeah.
Right. So where it doesn't feel posed, it doesn't feel staged, like you get a sense, you see that connection in the eyes. And, Herb Ritts was unbelievable for that. It would be a picture, like there's a famous picture of Julia Roberts where she's in the water screaming and she's just wearing like a man's t-shirt and man's underwear. And it's like, maybe not the most beautiful photo of her, but it is, because it's her, but it's just the whole energy of it. And he completely caught that moment of her. And that, I just think he was amazing. And Peter Lindbergh, he loved women. He photographed women so incredibly well and so respectfully and powerfully. And I do like Annie Leibovitz too. Yeah. I think, she's an icon, right? She's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like her stuff because hers is a bit more stylized.
Yeah.
Right. Like, she really creates a story of her of her subjects, where it's not just a picture of them. It's like, okay, well, who is Gwyneth Paltrow and what is she about? And bringing in the props and the scenery and everything to create that whole story. Right.
Yeah, for sure. What inspires you to create art? Where do you pull your inspiration from?
I think for photography, I think sometimes when I see other photographers' work, I get inspired, for sure, by the people themselves when I'm photographing them. I really love listening and watching them and sort of seeing what it is about them that stands out to me, what is about them that stands out to them, and sort of bringing that forth.
Yeah.
I feel, again, my meditation practice helps me because it clears me.
Right.
And I think that because of that, it helps me be better at everything that I do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. I think because I love what I do and because I love people. So I think a lot of people, Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And I really try, everybody who comes into my studio, everybody I meet, but everybody who comes into my studio, I want them to feel seen and I want them to feel special. And I would say hopefully 90% of the people that I photograph, when they leave, they feel that.
Yeah.
They feel good, and they feel good about themselves and how they felt. So I think maybe would be one of my superpowers.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I feel that when people come in for a photo shoot, I think, yes, of course, the pictures are what they're there for, and that's incredibly important. But I think that, for me anyways, it's more about the experience than the photos. The photos are the byproduct of the experience. I think it's all about the experience. That's the most important part of it. And the reason I'm thinking about that is because of what you just said, that people will remember how you made them feel. And that's what it's about, is how do your clients feel in that experience and in that moment. And when they leave, how are they feeling? How have you left them?
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I also think too, that when I first started, I don't know how old you are, but I think, we're getting older in this industry. Yeah. And I think that what happens is that when you're younger, it's like, you got to be the best. You got to be the best.
Yes.
And there's a softening that happens as you age. And there's like, if somebody shoots with me, great. If they decide to shoot with another photographer, that's okay. Like there's enough work out there for everybody.
Yes.
And like letting go of your ego, like if somebody decides to shoot with another photographer instead of me, like, again, like that's okay. Maybe they'll come back to me one day, or maybe I'm going to shoot someone who decided to shoot with me instead of that person. And again, it's like that, if we all take our bucket down to the ocean, we can all fill it up.
That's right.
So, and that relieves a lot of pressure too.
Yes.
Right. Because it's when you do that, because I think when you're like, oh, I got to get that gig, there's like a desperateness and all of a sudden you lose the essence of why you're actually doing what you're doing. Right. You're coming from fear or, I got to get the shoot so I can pay my rent but when you just trust that it'll come, it will.
That's right. It's community over competition. I've always said that. I mean, I can remember telling people when I said I was going to make the jump and go full time with it. What? Really? You're crazy. Like there's so many photographers out there. Yeah, sure. There's lots of photographers, but there's more than enough work to go around for everybody because no one shoots like me. No one has my eye. No one sees things the way I do. So my clients will come to me for me.
I agree. And you know what I remember when I first started? Do you remember Field of Dreams?
Yep.
I remember I would say, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, that was like my little mantra, and it did. Like,
and look at you now.
But I do. But like, there's lots of lawyers out there. There's lots of doctors out there. There's lots of hairdressers. There's lots of everything out there.
Right. There's lots of actors.
And also,
lots of actresses.
And you want to spread it too, because I think that if it's like one person who dominates it, like that's a lot of pressure for you.
Yeah.
Right. And not everybody, not everybody's going to like my style. And,
exactly.
and that's okay.
Yes.
Right. Like my idea of photography or beauty is different than somebody else's. And I'm so glad that there's other photographers that do it differently because it takes the pressure off you then.
Not everybody is going to be your client.
Yes.
And that's
not everybody's going to get you or get
That's
me.
right. That's right. Not everyone's going to resonate or like your work, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there are people who will.
Exactly. And that's where you want to focus your energy on. Instead of what's not coming to you, focus on what is coming to you.
That whole mindset thing, though, that's a very tough thing to wrap your head around and ease into and get into and have it become part of your belief system. It's not easy to do, but once you do it, your whole world changes. It completely changes and opens up.
Yeah, absolutely.
To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
My biggest high?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my family. I mean, they are without I get teary-eyed. I mean, my husband, when I met him, he helped me bring a lot of my dreams to life. I'm first of all loving him, that I get to love him every day, that I get to be loved by him, that I have these two incredible boys that are just, I learn from, and they're just incredible. And just watching me, having kids, just watching them become these adults, and it's so amazing. And I think that, it doesn't have anything to do with my work, but it does, because again, because I am happy in my personal life and feel so fulfilled. And too, like when you're in something good, everything is good, right? Yeah. And we've all had that when we've been in toxic relationships, and it permeates into other things, right?
For sure.
So I think that having a lovely family for me has given me the freedom to really step into who I am as a woman, because I know that I'm loved and respected and held in that space.
Yeah. What is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received, Helen?
Oh my gosh, I've gotten so many. I don't, I might have to circle back to that. I don't.
Okay. We can come back to that one. That's okay.
Yeah.
How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
For me, success is for me, like in my business or in my life, that I'm enjoying it. It doesn't mean that I don't have difficult times. It doesn't mean that I don't have times where I'm down or I doubt myself, but I would say 80% of the time I feel fulfilled in my life. And and happy is such a word to me, but just that, like, I feel connected, like I feel connected to my work. I feel connected to the people around me. And it's almost like, that sigh, like it's just, I enjoy, and I haven't always had that, and when, the first part of my life was really, really difficult. And so having that now and knowing that I have that and that, I was part in creating that is for me success.
Okay. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Oh, go for it. Find out what your niche is, because photography is like a big umbrella.
Yeah.
So what is it like? Do you like photographing people? Do you like product? Is it more industrial photography? Like, find out what, it is that you like about it. And then just start to explore it. And like, I've met photographers that are technically, like, they are unbelievable, but they couldn't take a picture of a person if their life depended on it.
Right.
So finding that, like, what is your passion? What is it that you like? And I mean, I didn't study photography, but I do think that that's important to do, but also just go shoot.
Yeah.
You experiment and don't let that fear of it not working out stop you, just go for it. And when you'll do something, you go, oh, well, that's not what I wanted to do. And it's like, then, well, why isn't it? Was it your exposure? Was it the wrong time of day? Was it your subject? And peel back the layers, right? And then how can you get that? And that's how we learn, right? We learn from our mistakes. So
just keep shooting. Shoot as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. I mean, I still sometimes will take a picture and one of the flashes won't go off. And then I'll look and I'll go, oh, that's actually a really good photo. Yeah. But it was by accident.
Happenstance.
Yeah.
Sure. Who have been the three most influential people in your life?
Oh, my brother David.
Yeah.
My husband. And that's a tough one. Because I've got a few. And you know what? I'm going to have to say right now where I'm at, my boys, they inspire me. They inspire me so much. I learn so much from them. And too, like, as we get older, we forget things, like, just like when they're young, like that innocence and that, like, go for it. Why not? You know, and, they'd walk out the door wearing, striped pajamas and you're like, what are you doing? And it's like, this is what I want to wear. And I'm like, okay, like, they don't care what other people think. And
that's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. What does the word empowerment mean to you, Helen?
I think empowerment for me is something that is within me. It's in my grasp to find. It's in my spirit and my soul to discover. And when you discover it, staying with it and releasing it.
Okay. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I think I would say for me, oh my gosh, there's a few. These questions are good because it's like, there's not one answer. But I think what I learned from my brother was unconditional love, right? And when you have somebody who loves you, and he set such a high standard for me that when I met, meeting my husband, I knew he was the right person because I learned what real love is and what unconditional love is. And I think before that, I didn't have that for myself. And because of that, I made a lot of mistakes and maybe didn't date the right people that were right for me. Yeah. But just when you are loved unconditionally, it gives you value for yourself. It knows that you're lovable. You are lovable. And when you're lovable, when you really believe that, I think that it's something that can't be taken away from you. And it sets a standard of what you want in your life and what you will not put up with and not have in your life.
Yeah, for sure. How would you like to be remembered?
Oh, it's so funny. I listened to this podcast the other day, and this gentleman, he works with a lot of athletes. And when one of the things that he says is like, what do you want on your tombstone when you pass? And And it was interesting because he said, nobody said like, oh, that I have 10 houses and 5 cars, or that I have all this money in the bank, right? It's that this was a kind and loving person. This was a person who cared. And when I thought, first of all, I love that. I just thought, what a great way of looking at our lives, right? Yeah. But I think that I want to be remembered as being a person who was kind and cared and loved so deeply for people around me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, it's funny you say that about the tombstone and how people don't say that they want this, and this, what they did, what they own. But, you know, I saw a quote a little while back, and it's well, maybe not necessarily the quote, but a story about, you know, when you meet people, it's like you're going through this shopping list with them. It's like, well, what do you do for a living? And are you married? Are you single? Do you own a house? Like, there's a laundry list of questions that people ask. And it's like, why is all that necessary? Why do you like that? Has nothing to do with who I am as a person, but that's just how I shouldn't say we, but how some people interact when they first meet a person. But then when they pass, like you said, no one puts any of that stuff. Like, no one cares about that stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. It's inconsequential.
No. And even that, when we say to somebody, like when I say, hey, Brad, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm really busy. I'm working on this project. And that has nothing to do with how you are, but we think that.
Yes.
Right. Instead, and being honest, going like, if somebody were to say like, how are you? And if you were just going, you know what, I'm okay, but I'm having a sad moment right now.
Yeah.
Like, how would that be if we actually were more truthful with ourselves to people?
Well, how would it be too? Because I think that, I mean, and I can't say this is for everybody, but do people really give a shit when they ask you? Like, are they being genuine? How are you? I don't think they do. I think it's just a thing to say because we've become so accustomed to saying those words. It's like, that's what you say when you meet someone or when you see someone. Hey, how you doing? You know, do you really give a shit about how they're doing? Honestly.
Yes.
I think.
Or have you ever? I agree. I agree. Or it would be interesting if you were to say something like, how are you? And if someone would say, oh, I'm having a bad day. Okay, good. Nice to see you. Like, would they even hear it? Or would they just be on autopilot?
Because they're, exactly. They're on autopilot. That's it. It's just like, this is the question. Hey, how are you? On to the next thing. They don't really give a shit. They don't, it's just a thing to say.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that, you know,
and slowing down. I mean, I think that's one of the things with COVID, right? It's like we've slowed down. We've had to. We've been forced to. But do you find that you've become more, like I find that I've even become more purposeful and slower with how I do things. And I got to say, I quite like it.
Yep, absolutely. My hope is, though, that whenever we finally do fully come out of this thing, that we do remember what this experience was like and what we learned from it, and we continue to practice and carry it through the other side of things, because the world has changed. Whether you want to admit it or not, the world has completely changed. And yes, there has been bad that's come out of COVID. And you and I spoke about this before we came on and started recording. There has been bad that's come out of COVID, but there's been a lot of good that's come out of it too.
I agree.
So my hope is that we can carry that and remember that when we go forward, when we do come out of the other side of this thing, that we put into practice and keep in practice these things that we have learned.
Yes. And I look forward to being able to hug people again.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like that's besides like the travel and stuff, absolutely. But, you know, just because I'm such a hugger. And so it's, you know, I look forward to that connection.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you look forward to?
Getting together with people and being around my friends and family and stuff. That's what I miss. I miss all that because this has taken that. I mean, like I said, it has been a very, very rough year and a bit, but you can travel down that dark rabbit hole and get sucked into all that negativity, or you can choose to, again, see the good, find the silver lining and what this has brought about for us. Yes, we're missing certain things. Like you said, you're missing hugging people, and I'm missing getting together with my friends and family and being able to spend time together in that way. But there's also been good things that have come out of this and things we have to look forward to. You can get sucked into that negativity.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to remember
Totally.
and keep that thought of wanting to get together and hug people. Keep that in your mind to keep you positive. That will help, right?
Yes, I agree. And that we're not at our, one of the things my husband says, and I remind this, is that we're not at our best right now.
That's right.
Right. And so we have to give people that space also, that sometimes when people snap at us or people, whether it be on social media, angry, right? People being angry and stuff. And it's like, we're not at our best right now. And we just have to allow people to give that grace a little bit too.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, there's a certain line. But
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a line.
You know, I've never thought about that. You're right. We do. We have to be patient with one another, and we have to give each other that grace and space, and remember that we're all in the same boat. We are, but we're navigating different water. Each one of us is navigating different waters.
Yeah. But I agree. There is a line.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Helen, how has your life been different than what you imagined it would be?
I think when I imagined my life, I only imagined it up to a certain point, and where I'm at now is beyond that point. It's the same with, like, I don't know what you're like, the same with having kids. Like, you kind of have this idea and you kind of fantasize and can visualize what it's going to be like. And then all of a sudden when you get into the teen years, I'm like, I have no idea what this looks like. Right. But before that, because you can kind of, you can kind of contain it and you kind of help guide it. And then all of a sudden they start, you can't, you have influences a bit, but it's their journey. And I feel like that with my life, like I got to a certain point and then now it's just keeps unfolding, and I'm just enjoying the process of it and what I'm learning from it and where it's taking me. But I'm grateful. Like, I feel, I'm here. I have, again, my family and my business. I mean, I have so much to be grateful for. And it's and I, like I said, earlier in my life, it was not easy. So getting to this, I very much appreciate it. And I know how special this is.
Yeah, for sure. What is one common myth about your profession that you would like to debunk?
You know what? I don't know, because I think it's different for men when you ask this question. Because I remember when I modeled, like the male photographers, it was like, oh yeah, be careful because, and they did, right? Like back then, like it was very much like photographers would hit on you and stuff like that, I think being a woman and being, in the time we're living in, it's not like that. Yeah. But I think, okay, you know what it would be is like and you probably have this too, like people, you take the pictures, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes, right? Yeah. Like there's the whole, first of all, there's the admin, setting up the appointment. I know it sounds simple, but doing all the emails, the back and forth, finding the time, then you have the shoot, and then doing the processing of it, like doing the Photoshop edit. Like there's a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't see. Yes. Right. Yep. So yes, like you get this beautiful image and you pay a certain amount of money for it, but that money also, like there's a lot of time, as like if you take a picture of someone and you do, let's say you take 500 images, editing that down and editing each photo and then the cropping and then the saving it and the storage and the, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I don't think people realize goes into it. Yeah. They just see the finished product and think, oh, wow, look at that. That's a beautiful image. And that's, they have no idea what goes in. And that would be something for young people or anybody getting into photography, is that it is a business. Yeah. Right. So treat it like a business, like make sure that you are on time, make sure that you confirm things, that it sounds silly, but that you pay your taxes, that you get a business number. I mean, when you talk about Annie Leibovitz, like she is unbelievable, but she went bankrupt, right? Because she didn't file her taxes and stuff like that. And I see that a lot with artists. Like you're artists, you're these incredible free spirits and stuff, but there is the business part of it too. So making sure that you also have that component to it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so often artists get into this and they turn it into a business and start making money. It's like, I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to deal with that side of it. I'm an artist. All I want to do is right? So you got to realize that there is another side. If you want to create a business out of what you're doing as an artist,
there is the other side of it where you have to be mindful as a business person too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What would you say is one of your biggest failures or teachable moments, and what did you learn from it?
I don't know biggest one, but I have failed a lot. I still take, I try different things. Like I made some like little things like that aren't, hugely expensive, but, I made a line of candles. Nobody bought them. Everybody got them for Christmas this year. I've tried bringing different things into my studio, and it hasn't worked. But I keep trying, right? Yeah. Like I don't try anything where it's, a $10,000 investment, right. But I do try little things. And sometimes, like my Sundari women book, I did that and it was, great success. And I don't mean success in money, but success in how women responded to it, how, the press that I got for it, having all these women letting our voices be heard, like that was a great success. Yeah. But then I've done other little projects where, not so much. And it's like, but that's okay. Cause it's like, we have to fail. Like that's where we learn, and we're not going to hit it out of the park every time. And, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that also, as long as it's not something that would affect me or my family in a bad way. Yeah. Okay. What about you?
I think for me, one of my biggest is around mindset. And we spoke about this earlier, I was one of those people of the mindset where I was always worried about what other photographers were doing. And I honestly and wholeheartedly believe, as I said earlier, when I was able to shift that mindset, things completely changed. So I think that my failure was being stuck in that mindset and letting it control and hamper what I was trying to do with my business. Because when I changed that, my business opened up. I started getting more inquiries and more bookings. And so I would say that was probably one of my biggest failures, is getting stuck in that mindset. And I was in that mindset for a while, well over a year. It took me a while to get out of that and get into the community of a competition. And I've learned that, sorry, go ahead.
Because it's fear, right?
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
And fear, we don't realize, like fear actually shuts things down.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fear of like, oh, what if somebody's better than me? What if they get my idea? What if they book with that? Yeah, it's all,
I'm going to lose that gig. And oh, no, I learned that my only competition is me. As long as I can look back at my work and see that I've improved over the course of time, that's all that matters. So I would say mindset, getting stuck in that horrible mindset was one of my biggest failures, and letting it dictate and control where I went with things.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a very tough, it really is a tough thing to get into that mindset. Mindset is so important to life in general, to everything. If you don't have the right mindset, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You really
and one of the things that I learned too is that I read in a book about forgiveness, and we can forgive people, but it doesn't mean like it's a list, like check, that's done. Yeah. So you could forgive something, but then you could see something in a movie, or you see someone and it can trigger it again, right? Yes. Like that emotion or that event. Yep. And it's the same thing with what you're talking about. Like, even though, that fear, it's like, it doesn't mean that it still doesn't rear its head sometimes, but now you're able to go like, okay, I know why that's there. Yeah. And I'm just going to let that go. And you can do it quicker, where it used to take maybe like a couple of days. Now you can do it like in a minute, or like it takes 90 seconds to change a thought, right? Like if you stay with it and you can kind of go, okay, I know where this is coming from. I'm feeling insecure. And then you can let it go.
Yeah. 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 That's a hard thing to learn though, and train your mind to get into that, right? It's a practice. Very hard thing. It's easy to get stuck in that negative mindset. I don't know about you, but I still get nervous before a shoot. Every shoot, no matter what it is, headshots or boudoir, it doesn't matter. I get nervous before every single shoot. And, I've talked with...
Oh, I love that.
I've talked with different people about this, and they say, you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because that keeps you grounded. And it lets you know that you're not too comfortable, and you're not too, too cocky, I guess, for lack of a better term, that that you still get nervous. That's a good thing that you still get nervous. I've had people say, I'd be worried if you weren't nervous before a shoot.
Yeah. It's because you care.
Yeah. For sure. It's Yeah, my stomach still gets in knots before a shoot. And I mean, it has, as you said, with time, you learn to kind of calm yourself, and it gets less and less as you become more seasoned or further into your business or whatever you want to call it. It does lessen, but it doesn't go away. For me anyways, it hasn't gone away. I still get nervous. And I mean, I've been shooting for, not professionally, but I've been photography has been in my life since high school. So years, decades. Like you, I started out shooting black and white and developing my own images in the darkroom. I took photography in high school. And so it's been years. It's been part of my life, but I mean, for me, it doesn't go away. It's still there.
Yeah. I think that's sweet. I like that.
I never thought of it as sweet, but okay. If you could set up a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would it say?
If I could set up a billboard, I don't know where. Okay, let's say we're in Toronto.
Yep.
I don't know. Let's say around like a busy area, and it would probably just say breathe.
Breathe.
Yeah. Just breathe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we circle back to the advice question?
Yeah. What was the question? What advice was I given?
One of the best pieces of advice you've ever received? Doesn't have to be the best, but one of the best. One that really sticks out for you.
I think, you know what, I remember a friend of mine once, we went for dinner and I was single at the time. And she said to me, just live your life and be who you are and trust that what you desire is coming to you. And I remember that night going home, I'm a journal writer, and I remember that night going home and writing in my journal just sort of what she had said and what that meant to me. And then 2 weeks later, I met my husband. And I don't know but I think that I think it's that trusting of yourself, because sometimes like what you were saying, when we don't, when fear sets in, we try to control things.
Yeah.
But when you can just sort of trust yourself, and through that things will unfold. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do a little rapid fire section here. So the next group of questions will be like 1, 2, 3 word answers. Okay.
Okay.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Goofy.
What makes you smile?
Oh my gosh. My husband, my family, my dog, my friends.
Okay. What would be the perfect birthday gift for you?
Oh, right now, roller skates.
Wow, roller skates.
Yeah.
We're going back to the 70s.
We're going back. Yeah. To the roller palace.
Awesome. If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Again, you know what? It sounds corny, but breathe.
Okay. If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
A warning label. Oh, that's a good question. And I'm not doing a rapid fire with that, am I? Oh, I don't know. My mind has gone blank. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah. Be prepared to cry, I guess, because I'm very emotional and I tend to bring, I don't know.
If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would that be?
Bruce Springsteen, Baby, We Were Born to Run.
Okay. Money or fame?
Money.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Just trust in something that is bigger than you, and that you are perfect the way you are.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change?
Nothing.
What is one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
One thing that I want but I cannot buy with money. I'd like to cross over to the other side and come back again.
Okay. What is one of your favorite entrepreneurial books?
I'm a huge Brene Brown fan. I think all her stuff is incredible. And there's this other woman who I'm in love with right now, Martha Beck, about living with integrity, and she's incredible too.
Okay. Entrepreneurial life is?
Amazing.
If I had an extra hour a day, I would?
If I had an extra hour a day, I would. Right now, I haven't been sleeping well, so I would say sleep.
Lastly, for the rapid fire, my favorite way to unwind is?
Meditate.
Okay. Helen, what's the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
I just did a course online through the University of Alberta on Indigenous Studies.
Okay.
And it's a free course that they're offering. And I realized, I guess it was a few months ago, that I really embarrassingly don't know a lot about Canada and about First Nations. And I just felt like it's something that I wanted to know and understand more. And they were offering this free course, and I took it. And it's sad and amazing, and I learned a lot from it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
That you're enough.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Oh, you're going to make me cry. I love you. I thank you. I will be with you even when I am not here. And I can't wait until we meet again.
Beautiful. Helen, thank you so very much for taking the time to be
here. This was so much fun.
This
You're really good at this.
Thank you. This has been an incredibly inspirational and enjoyable chat. I'm over the moon excited with how well the conversation has flowed, and you are such an inspiration and a beautiful human being. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here, and you are now part of the Empowerography community. And I thank you. And I am so grateful.
And thank you. And I really, and I think it's what I love is that you're a man who is doing this, because this is what we need for the change. We need men to step up and to help celebrate women, right?
Yes.
And the fact that you are doing this and that you are dedicating your time and your podcast to lifting up women and empowering women and shedding light on them is so wonderful. And we need more men like you out there doing this. So thank you so much for this.
Wow. Thank you for that. Those incredibly kind words. And honestly, the honor and pleasure has been all mine. I mean, I've said this many times, without women like yourself, this platform, this podcast doesn't even exist. So I am so grateful and thankful and appreciative for you taking the time out of your day to be here and share your story and your journey, with the hopes that we can help reach and inspire as many women as we possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Helen Tansey. She is a headshot photographer based right here in Toronto. Thank you so much, Helen. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.